Doesn't that look like a huge foot? And we have the same here. Hi guys, so we are currently in Arches National Park, and this is my last stop, supposedly. I might stop at Canyonlands later on if I get the chance, but otherwise, to be honest with you, this is actually my last stop from all national parks. So it's quite exciting, you know, it's been like over a week of national parks, and especially in Utah, South Utah, and then here in Moab. And this actually, I feel, is the hottest right now. So Bryce Canyon was not as hot beginning of June. Zion was pretty hot with 104 Fahrenheit. But boy, oh boy, I thought this would be like maybe 90 Fahrenheit, which is like 30 Celsius. It might be that, like when you look at the weather report, but it doesn't feel that way at all. It feels like 110 degrees. And the sun is really strong, so I actually just had to apply some sun protection again. And it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and the sun is still going really, really strong, which wasn't the case at all in Zion, and certainly not the case in Bryce. So yeah, interesting, but I really wanted to see this one, and I'm quite excited for it. And right now we are actually on our way to Delicate Arch. If I can make it, I'll go. That's how hot it is. If not, I guess I'll just drive along the road to like a viewpoint and watch it from there. But you guys, this is similar to Arizona desert. I mean, Utah desert is no joke. And I know it says arches and canyons and all of that, but it feels like the desert. I mean, it's hot. You guys, let me show you something. So, doesn't that look like a huge foot from a giant or something? And we have the same here. And then I took a picture earlier where we had one imprint that was almost twice as long as my foot. I'll blend in the photo or something. But isn't that crazy? I mean, literally it looks like a foot, right? Like 2 feet somehow, or like a foot. And you can even see the toes in this one. And so back around Zion, I was talking to this one guy. He was telling me about 200-meter tall caves in the Grand Canyon and what they were for, or he was asking me, what do you think they're for? So if you think giants exist, it's probably your proof that that's a giant foot imprint, in my opinion. You can literally even see the big toe and the smaller knuckles of the actual imprint. And so right now we're still on our way, and I haven't made up my mind whether or not I'm just going to head back and drive to the scenic viewpoint, but it's gotten a little bit cooler because there's a wind. So that's nice, but you know, honestly, it's going to be a really tough hike, so I'm not really sure yet, you guys. We're just going to do it one step at a time. It is quite beautiful though. So we have so many imprints, you guys, and I do think a lot of them are feet. But I also saw a little bit of a heart, actually. And so, you know what? I never knew what it meant to be in the land of the giants. Whenever I give readings to people who are from this area, whatever, the giants always come through, like always, with no exception. Sometimes they don't, but usually, like, Utah and other places, they really come through. So I never knew, like, until I saw this here, like, these imprints. And they could have been in the other areas, don't get me wrong, you know, they could have been in Bryce Canyon and all of that, but here, and you know, you're drawn to a place for a reason, and I knew I was drawn to here because I did actually not like the vibes a lot here to this morning, you know. I wasn't really vibing with the people. I wasn't feeling this, you know, I was just not feeling it. I'm like, okay, we'll be here for a day and then we'll head back to Flagstaff and all of that, but there's always a reason you're drawn somewhere. At least in my opinion, there is, you know. And so I think this is really just to connect more with the giant history. Do you have it in the Grand Canyon? I'm sure you do, but this was like really obvious. And so people are just walking among it. and thinking it's like little mountains and hills and whatever, and I'm just like, no, there are actually fossils of feet where you can even see the toe, you know. Like, it's crazy. It's just crazy what, once you open your eyes to it, you can unsee it, right? So there's this one channel out there who talks about fossilized hearts and all of that, and hearts being a spiral, and I always like them a lot, but it makes sense. I think he's actually in Spain, so there must be some giant presence in Spain as well, probably all over the world, honestly. So, crazy stuff, and I guess that was the main reason I was drawn here. You also have a lot of Native American presence, so tomorrow I might check out some I don't know, not reservation, but like little villages, and see what I can get out of it. But yeah, the Native American presence is like all over this area, you know, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico. It's on the East Coast too, but it's just not like this here, you know. So if you really want to connect to the Native American presence, this is the area you need to be in. And you know, as usual, there's like always AI blabbing off in the background the moment you're talking about something important, right? So, can you believe it, you guys? The moment I stopped the recording, they stopped talking. Like, all throughout this time, talk, and then the moment I stop it, they see, that's what I mean. That's AI, like right on my back. So, I mean, it's like robotoids, clone bodies, you know. So, yeah, it's just fascinating. I have something to say about that entire Native American thing too. You know, it's heartbreaking, obviously, how they were chased from their lands and slaughtered and killed, and by other tribes too. So when I met this one person in Utah at a rock shop, she was like, or maybe it was a different person here in Colorado, you know, everything blends into one, but whoever it was, they told me that the Navajo kept someone as slaves, a different tribe, or maybe the other way around, that the Navajo were kept as slaves by a different Indian tribe. I gotta look it up again, but I thought that was so fascinating that they just keep enslaving each other too, and then they became the slaves, right? Or like became inferior to the white people who came to this land. And I'm just like, I don't know, is it karma? I mean, there must be something in this land, obviously. It's like a continuous cycle that goes on and on. And so I found that really interesting. It's not surprising, but it was really interesting because I hadn't heard that one before, or maybe I had read about it, but I didn't really recall it. And so it must have been a long time ago if someone did tell me about that. But yeah, it seems like the oppressive thing, keeping people as slaves, is obviously nothing new. It's not just something that came from Africa, not just something that came you know, here in this country either. So it just kind of confirms humanity. Good humans, bad humans, clone body humans, soulless humans, humans with a heart, humans without a heart, let's put it that way. And I don't know how I would feel keeping someone as a slave. I'm not sure I would be comfortable with that, let's put it that way. So I do think as a person you probably don't change as much over your reincarnations, and I think I've always been on that standpoint where I wouldn't feel comfortable having like subordinates or slaves. But some people are nowadays, you know. If you go to a restaurant and you see how some people are acting towards their servers, literally commanding them and talking really bad to them, you kind of see how they probably had slaves in previous lifetimes or wouldn't be opposed to it. And so it's a certain nastiness also that goes with people, and I've seen it a lot with entitled people in America, obviously. I don't want to say California, but unfortunately California does have a lot of that. Also New England, obviously, where we have rich and snobby people. Not that all rich and snobby are that way, but you know, usually it goes hand in hand. The more income, or like the more wealth you kind of inherit, the more entitled you might feel. And if you worked really hard for your money, maybe there's less of that. You can be rich and not be that way. I don't know. There's probably a psychological thing behind it. But so this is turning into sand. And that was a really long rant on yeah, you know, the energies of the land. And there's a beautiful blackbird right there. I think it's a crow. And yeah, you guys, I mean, you know, some people are saying, like, commenting on my videos, being like, hey, I feel nature's dead and all of that. I'm like, nature does not feel dead here at all. Like, Zion did not feel dead at all. Maybe Yosemite, but, you know, Zion, even Sedona did not feel dead or overtaken by AI yet, at least. So I can confirm it doesn't feel that way here. This looks pretty. Looks prettier than most of the way, actually. So yeah, this actually looks like a giant excavation site, like someone commented on my video previously. Can definitely confirm that. Beautiful though. Alright guys, was it worth it? I think so. I think it was definitely worth it. Not really looking forward to the climb back, but to be honest with you, I'm happy I went because there aren't even like a billion amounts of people that you have supposedly here on the weekend. You know, that's why I kind of booked my trip around the weekend. Like I was doing most of the driving this weekend. And yeah, looks pretty amazing. Would probably look best during sunset, but then you gotta scramble back in the dark. So yes, you guys check it out if you're in the area. See some giant footsteps and the arches. Alright, so I just actually spoke to another person and they said they were here the last time in October and it was like 10 times as crowded. So honestly, if you have the option to go in the summer, maybe go in the 110-degree heat because there are going to be less people, I can say that much, and it makes for better shots for sure. Is it strenuous and very tough? Yes. But you kind of get used to it. You know, honestly, this is like my 4th day just hiking around in the heat and you do get used to it. So, a fun fact is that those twisted trees are actually vortex trees. And you can pretty much find them all over Sedona, obviously, but you can find them everywhere where you have like a very strong energy. And yeah, it's fascinating that you find them here. There must be a lot of vortices. Almost looks like little excavation points, you know, as if it's kind of like a construction site, right? Like an ancient construction site. So they just have like all the sand and stones there. I don't know, you guys, like the more I'm looking at this stuff and looking at how many layers the rock has and how much sand and everything is in it, the more I'm just like, yeah, this is like a construction site, you know, they were like digging around here, leaving their imprint, and it's just on a massive scale so that we as the little humans can't really see it at first glance. But I really do think, after reading that one comment from someone who was like, hey, doesn't it look like they just kind of left those things, you know, uncarved or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, you're right, it does, like everywhere I've gone so far. Even in Zion sometimes, but not all the way, but still, you know, like Sedona for sure, Bryce Canyon a little bit, yeah, and here for sure. I mean, honestly, it's just something to consider, right? So just to give you an idea, when I came, the entire parking lot was pretty empty. Not super completely empty, but it was like a third full, maybe less, like a quarter full. And now there's so many cars, you guys. Like even extending back to there. So to be honest with you, it was kind of worth coming at the time I came, and then luckily there were clouds over the arches, so it's like you get a natural diffuser, so you still got some really good pictures. Oh boy, I don't know what it looks like in October, but I'm happy I came here, even with the heat and everything. I got what I wanted and got the pictures that I wanted, so yeah. I don't know. I mean, if you want to come in October, maybe come really early during sunrise, because sunset, so many people were heading up right now. We're like an hour before sunset, and this entire parking lot is full. Like, full. It's gorgeous, you guys. That's all I have to say. Was it worth coming here? Yeah, I think so. I think it was definitely worth it. Right now, it's pretty gorgeous. And there's a mini arch over there, which you can see a little bit. It's like kind of like, yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but it's cool.